All right, guys, we are ready to rock and roll here. Thanks for hanging in there. We're gonna get going right now. Um, Welcome to another London Open trading session from Future 45 Trade Signals. If you are just brand new to us, make sure you click down here in the bottom right hand corner there and click on our little icon there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, so then you'll get instant notification when we go live on the next one, which coincidentally is every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 12 a.m. New York time, and every Friday morning at 9 a.m. New York time to trade the S&P 500. So, and actually we're going to try and increase that schedule as well too. My one analyst who is doing it is actually just having some audio issues on that. I had to jump in for him last week. His audio was going in and out and in and out and in and out for some reason. And we had a great trading session. We had and I'll actually go through that right now if you want, if you guys are wondering what kind of stuff that we're doing here from London Open versus New York Open. And if I can find my S&P 500 chart, here it is here. So this was the chart that was put out. This was the signal that was put out on Friday. Price was, I'll just zoom in here. Where was Friday? Friday the 15th? No, it was the 16th. So we had price open up, basically did absolutely nothing throughout the London session. Ran up slightly, and then at CME Open it started to drop off nicely, and then we ended up picking a long trade up in right in here. I can't remember the exact level. I have to go back to my signal entry, and then we ended up taking profits above the level up here. So it was a great little intraday trade for I don't even know how much it was for. You know what? Maybe I can switch over. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just see if I can't find that other chart. There it is here. And if you bear with me 1 second, I'll just do a little modification. Put this on and bought. Where is the... I should have this prepared for you guys going in, but you know, I didn't because that'd be too easy, right? Okay, here we go. And there it is. There it is, okay. So guys, I just had to get my charts figured out here. So you can see it was right here. So like I was saying, we got a long right here. I actually tried to get a long in this, I think it was this candle, or, well, it was obviously this candle, but this candle here closed, and we were looking at this and taking a long, and it actually, this candle was actually trading down here. It wasn't a bearish candle, it was a bullish candle. It wasn't that high, but the dealer spread ended up getting us in up to here, unfortunately. And then we took a nice little profit right above these highs right here. So there was a little bit more juice there that we could have squeezed out, but we got a good portion of the day's move for 160, 150 pips-ish. So it was a nice little trade there on the S&P. So that's the kind of stuff that we do on Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern time, just so you know. Now the London session, which we're doing now, I'll just minimize this guy. London session that we're doing right now, I do it every Tuesday and Thursday, and my other analyst out of the UK does it on Wednesdays. So we, between all three of us, kind of share the live sessions throughout the week. So you get 4 live sessions from us, which is a ton of information. And honestly, if you can't if you can't make money with us by doing 4 live sessions plus all the signals we put out throughout the day, I don't know how else to help you. So anyway, we're also starting, just so you know as well too, that chart that I had up, that was our demo account. This guy here, we will be posting this on my FX book, sending a link out to everybody, and it'll actually be a live link and a live feed on our website at f45trading.com. I just have to get everything all set up with the with my FX book and put it onto the website, and I'll just show you here real quick. We're going to get into the markets in 1 second, guys, but I just wanted to show you something real quick here. So you can see here, this is our website. By the way, if you're not haven't signed up yet, you can sign up for free for 14 days at a discount rate of $75. Just so you know, the rate is going to go up. We just had a small rate increase of $20 from $55 and a free 30 days. We had a significant amount of spots filled, and we are now closing that offer down. The next offer as it sits is 14 days at $75. The next offer is going to be 1 week free and we'll probably do $95, I would imagine, for that offer. So this expires April 1st, so you got about a month to check us out, and 14 days to check us out. Check out our live sessions, and eventually, like I say, once I get that MyFX book all set up on our demo account, that will go right here, all that information. So you can jump on, you can see our track record, you can see the trades that we've taken, you can see our profitability, and away we go. So we're going to get that going. Anyway, with that being said, make sure you sign up to our Instagram, Future 45 Trade Signals, and onto our Twitter at F45 Trading. We are always on there, always connected, and we've got a lot of great benefits working with with us at F45 Trading. We've got live chat rooms, we've got broadcast signals for direct to your phone, instant trade notifications, ton of advantages. So can't say enough good things about it. So anyway, guys, we're going to jump into the markets here right now because I know why. That's why you're all here. So let's get after it. What are we looking at here? The US dollar index. Okay, so if you have joined us on a live session before, it's pretty much nothing new. We typically start out from a monthly, work our way down to a weekly, to a daily, and you can see here, I mean, from this, this is a clear bearish downtrend. We had a little bit of a bounce and consolidation area. So typically, as you've probably heard me say this before, if this is your first time, then I guess this is first time you've heard it, but price typically likes to trade between consolidation range and consolidation range. So what I mean by that is, I'll just draw a box here so you can see this, how price came in, stabbed up, didn't really go anywhere, came back down, had some pretty big wicks down here, and then came back up again. If I were to go down into a daily, so this is price spent 3 weeks right in this area right here, until the price finally continued higher. Typically what happens is price likes to trade back to these levels of consolidation and either do one of two things: bounce off of it and reverse, or continue through it. But what it also can do as well, before it, while it's making up its mind as to whether it wants to go through or not, is it'll also tend to sometimes consolidate as well too in this area, and you get just sort of a nice, basically price doing exactly what it did over here, right? It's coming down, wicking through, closing up, coming back down, wicking through, closing up. And so we've been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks at this level now, and it doesn't necessarily show any signs of going anywhere else for the time being. And what I had mentioned as well last session is we could actually see price work in a bit of consolidation range here for a little while. So price could just continue chopping higher and lower and higher and lower and higher and lower for the next week or two. You got to be prepared for that and trade according to that style, if that is indeed what's going to happen. So price has failed to get through here. It came back down and it wicked just a bit lower than that low there, so I can actually reset this low, and I'll get this exactly. Let me just zoom in here. So we'll get the price on this exact low here. It comes in at 88 on this feed, 88.14. Oops. So we'll just put it in at an even 88.15. There we go. So we'll be looking for price to continue lower. This is a nice bear trend, as you can see here. Price has not made any significant, I shouldn't say significant rally. Price hasn't made any significant move to the upside to negate this downward bear trend that we're in, other than this one little push right here. But price failed right up in this level here. So what I am looking at is price to continue down past here eventually, and then we'll get into this next consolidation area, which I have marked off the top of the range there. So that's what we're looking at on the US dollar index. Now, obviously, if you have been trading with us for any length of time, you know that we talk about the US dollar index, not because we are trading it every day, but because it gives us insight as to the other currency pairs that we trade. Guys, can you just go ahead and, I got the chat window up in front of me, just go ahead and give me a quick yes or no if you can hear me, if my audio signal is coming through. I just want to make sure before I get too far into this here that you guys can all hear me. I'd appreciate that. Test, test, test. Should be able to hear me. Gotcha, Ben. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so price, like I say, has been consolidating here. It's been wicking down. Hasn't been wanting to close lower than the middle of this range. So now let's drill into this here for a quick second. What I'm thinking on the dollar, I'll just get rid of this guy here and draw your attention right here to this 89.45. I released a video this week on Sunday, actually, as to where just some levels that I think the market is going to reach for the week coming, just to kind of give us a bit of a bias and a bit of an overview as to so we can plan our trades accordingly and sort of get our heads right early before the week starts. So what I'm anticipating is price coming up to right about this level here, this 89.45. Maybe 89.50 could be in the cards. I don't think it will go much higher than that, but I'm looking to see the reaction that price is going to have off of those levels. So far, price almost made it up to that level here yesterday, but yesterday was a holiday, obviously, a U.S. holiday, a Canadian holiday, banking holiday, and I don't think it was a holiday in the U.K., actually, but markets were a little bit slow, didn't do a whole lot of movement, so you can kind of see why that candle would be like that. But we are now opened higher, and I'll just drop down to an hourly and put my day dividers on, so you can see here price has gapped a little bit higher here to start off Tuesday's trading, and it's kind of starting to trade a little bit softer now. But what I'm looking for is price basically to come down to about here ish, and then start to rebound higher from there. And like I say, I would like it to get up to right in this level here. It could even come up to this 89.50 level. Whoops. Somewhere in here, like I say, I'm looking for a reaction to happen for price to start to roll over from here. So I'd like it to come up. I don't really want to see it go any higher than here. And basically that would be this big candle right over here, this small little consolidation range. I'll just point that out here. I don't want to see price go any higher than this range that we have in here. And I think the lows on these guys are coming in at the close of this candle. Yeah, 89.51. So, right in that, 5 pips sort of range is kind of where I'm looking for price to stop. And then from there, I want to see it come down. Now, this would kind of be our first target range for the week, right down here. And if we get enough movement, 88.30, that's the high of this consolidation range down here. So, this is kind of the area that I'm looking at for price to come back down to. We could get, just for the record, just so you know, because we do have a bit of a range in here where price stalled, price may want to come down a bit about where this red line is. Price may want to come back down here, and it could bounce higher from there before it drops lower. So we've got to keep that in mind. But I believe you can see here, we created a bit of a double top as well too. So, going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if they came back up for this. So that's why I say I want to see what price does right at this level here. If price has a willingness to want to drive through this level here, then we should see the levels up here getting taken out. And by that, I mean the stops run. So these guys here would get taken out. And then from there, if we don't see any reaction, see any movement back downwards, then we would be looking at the highs up here to be taken, and then the lows under this consolidation area to be tested next. So we just got to kind of keep our eye on that. We are expecting continued bearishness to the dollar index. And if you're a trend line trader, the other thing that you could be looking at, I am not, just so you know, but you see how that lines up quite nicely? Again, not that I trade via trend lines like this. I trade off of specific price levels, but that would kind of also give you some sort of indication at that level that we'd be looking at a bounce at as well too. I just threw that in there, just I don't know why. Why the hell not? I don't trade off like that, just so you know. But anyway, that's what I'm looking for. I want to see price get lower than this low here, but we may need to soak some liquidity up. And again, like I said, we do have those double highs right up here. And that's just a prime area. Everyone is thinking that's resistance, resistance, resistance. Let's sell this thing. And it starts running down, and then it comes down, takes out some old lows, and where's the next logical spot? It could be right up there. So, like I say, I want to see what happens here. If price goes through there, this is the next spot that we're looking at. So if price drives its way through here, and we're going to know during London Open today, price will get up there today. So, well, it could be New York. We'll find out. If we don't see any noticeable reaction happening between now and New York Open, so like in the next 7.5 hours or so, if we don't see this happen and price wanting to drive down lower, then it's probably going to want to go through here, and then we're going to want to take things up higher, and more than likely the highs up here are going to be taken. So just so you know. And this was a pretty good indication that they were selling into this move right here. This big long wick up, tested the lows of this consolidation area, and then ran through and did take out those two lower lows there. So like I say, if they want to continue trading in a consolidation area, that's how those consolidation areas work. They just keep taking the stops above and below the marketplace, and just keep running it in here sideways for the next little while. And I mean, these types of consolidations happen all the time, right? Like, look at this one. This was a monster consolidation. I mean, this was a very long time frame. Price came up, it came down, took out the lows, and then consolidated for what was that? That was May 2015, and it didn't break out of there really until about here, which was November 2016. So that's about a year and a half of chopping sideways. Not saying we're going to get that now, but it might occur for a few more days, so we've got to be cognizant of that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw out a couple of trade ideas for the week. So I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to show you some trade levels and some trades to take if price were going to stall out here and drop. And I'll show you some trades that we're going to look at taking if price decides that it wants to go through this 89.50 level and continue higher on the week. Okay, so let's just run over the Euro USD. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Again, tomorrow, tune in London Open. My analyst goes through the Euro USD in detail, and you'll get probably some. He's a bit of a more short-term trader, so he's does a few more scalps and things like that, where you can get in and out for 30-40 pips in his trading sessions. I'm not necessarily a scalper per se. I like to do, hold for the daily range or the weekly range myself, so I look for the setups, the long-term setups. Not long-term, but like I say, daily or weekly. And he'll be talking about this tomorrow, but the Euro USD, again, if we're going to see prices go higher, we would see that happen pretty much anywhere, in the next little while. So price will either come down to, you know what, this is actually easier doing it this way. Price will come down to this consolidation area right here and reject, or try for the lows. And then we'll be going down to this consolidation area here. So you see how price had failed. There's a small consolidation area here. Price had failed on this one. Okay, so price ran up, consolidated, rammed higher, price dropped back down, and it basically came down. It didn't pass the middle of the this consolidation area, and then it ran higher. So this will kind of be the next run that will tell us if we should see in line. Now we're going with right now. Go back to the pound dollar. The U.S. dollar index. I want to see this happen. Price comes up to 89.50 and drop. If that happens, the euro should come down somewhere in, we may not even get a deep tracement to 12300. I don't think it'll get down. Well, that's 80 pips. If we have a nice little run up on the US dollar, we could get 80 pips drop today. And then price would basically, I'd be looking forward to do this. Okay. So if that happens, my guy will be sending out signals on that for that trade. I won't go into too much detail on this one because this isn't my pair, but just to give you guys a heads up, if there are any Euro USD traders, that would be the scenario we'd be looking for if we see bearish action on the US dollar index. Now, if we see bullish action, so price trades through 89.50 and continues higher up to these levels here, then what you're going to see is you're going to see the Euro USD go past these lows here and start to now test the area in here. And from there, then we'd look at what price wants to do, and then we would look potentially at you know, some longs in here. Now we can get short in the meantime. It's not like we have to wait for price to drop all the way down here and then we get long. And you know, we're not just, you know, one-directional traders. So we would just be looking for price to come down, run back up on a bull candle, and we would go down to the hour or 15-minute entry to get that, and then continue downwards. And we would be holding for, if price did get through here, again, this would be the next level we'll be looking at. But that would be about a 280 pip range, so that would be a hell of a range for the week on Euro USD. But again, I'm not going to discuss this anymore. Tune in tomorrow, and we will. If you're a member, by the way, you'll get signals on this right to your phone instantly if there is a signal put out on the euro. If not, you'll be scalping it tomorrow during the London Open session. So, pound dollar, same idea. Okay, I put some levels out here on the chart. Now, right, two scenarios. Scenario one, we get price rolling over at 89.50. The pound dollar, I'd be looking for price to stab down here to the 139.20 level. I'll just zoom in here a little bit. Basically the high of this candle right here. I kind of wanted to, I got this other line in here, but I'm going to actually get rid of that now. I wanted to see what price was going to do in this area here, but because it was a bank holiday on Monday, this was kind of an inside, almost a doji candle. Didn't really do anything. It literally created the same low as the same high and finished right in the middle. So you can't really tell much on that. But now this candle here that's opening up is kind of giving me a little bit of a reading, suggesting that we could see price further continue down, tagging off this area right in here, and then resuming higher. So it would be doing something like this. Obviously. That's what we would be looking for. So we'll watch if price comes down here and watch the reaction at this level right here. Now keep in mind, price could want to come down a little bit further, not much, but I mean, it could want to come into this range here as well too. So I'll just try and get a level off here for you guys. It's not too much of a difference, but it's about a 10 to 15 pip difference that price could want to come down to. Like, when I throw these levels out, these exact levels, I mean, I'm looking for price to come down to these levels. It may go down and through it a couple of pips. It may go down through it, 10 pips. But we are looking at reactions in these areas. So you got to watch price. If you can't be in front of the charts when you do it, you set your pending order. At this level, you give yourself a bit of a wide stop range, and then you let price do what it's going to do while you're away from the charts. But if you're in front of the charts, you can actually see price and what it's doing, how it's reacting at those specific levels, and you can get a much more favorable entry point from there. Because maybe price will come down to 139.10. If it does, great. Get an entry at 139.10. Go along from there. Okay. Now, if this doesn't pan out and we get continued bullishness on the dollar, as I mentioned before, so if we get price running straight up here, okay, let's look at that scenario. So that would mean price would blow through this level here, and we would actually be looking at same type of idea as the euro. And I've actually already got it marked out on the charts here, and I will just throw just a real quick highlight in here just so you can see it a little bit better and clear it up for you. I'd be looking at price somewhere in this range. as a target for the week. Okay, and that would give us from current levels about 300 and, I mean, from the first target would be about 300 pips, anywhere from 300 pips to 300 and, 80 pips type of thing. So that would be the level that I'd be watching if price goes through here and if the US dollar does not want to react at that level there. That's what I'm looking at for the week. And so either way, right, if we do get an entry here at 139.20, this would be my first target at 350 pips higher than where we're at right now. So now what we want to do in conjunction with this, okay, and you've heard me, and I'll talk about a few more pairs here in a minute, but I just want to bring up the news for a second. There's not a ton of news on the, there's a little bit of news on the euro, but some medium and then low impact, whole bunch of stuff, and really Tuesday is just not a lot of high impact anything. So price may not see a ton of volatility. We could just sort of see price. I'll just drop down to an hour. We see how price is just kind of just sort of stair stepping down, just kind of one little tick at a time, tick, 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 tick. We could see that happen, right? We may not get these big ranges just due to the lack of news that we're seeing right now. So just keep that in mind. I want to see price push through this level here. But just keep that in mind that we may not see a ton of fireworks today, so it could be kind of like watching paint dry when it comes to trading the markets. But we'll watch that and we'll see how that comes to fruition here. So that is the pound dollar, and the news really doesn't kick up until Wednesday. We've got a ton of news on the euro, so that would be a good day to trade the euro on Wednesday, which is perfect because it lines up with the London Open at 3 a.m. A little bit later than London Open, a couple hours later than London Open, but we can probably get some nice setups for it going into it for sure. So make sure you tune in tomorrow on that. Excuse me. And then we've got some pound sterling here at 4:30, a high news impact event, and then another one at 9:15. So inflation report holding. So we could see some pretty good movement on the pound dollar, and then some real late day FOMC meeting minutes, which could throw a little bit of volatility in the markets. A couple things on Thursday, and Friday's a pretty good day for the CAD as well too, for the loonie. And then we have a bunch of FOMC stuff late Friday afternoon, which we probably won't be in the markets then, but we'll watch for that. So let's get rid of this chart or window, and we'll come back and look at the UJ. Where are we here? Price hit that target I was talking about at 105.50. So I don't know if any of you guys actually did it come in right at that level. Let me just see here. Low. Oh, I missed it. I put a target out. We put a short signal in last week at. I'll get the level here in a minute, but my target was 105.50 even. Missed it by 3 pips. So pretty good trade. But we had an entry here, I think it was last Thursday. Saw price kind of, and price was a little choppy in here on Thursday. You can see we got short here. It came up, it missed it, and then went down, and it came up and just stopped us out. And then it traded down to the target on Friday on the next day. So it was a good trade overall. We made, I think we banked about 30 pips or 40 pips on that. So not a bad trade. But you can see the result the next day. It finally hit our target. So sometimes that happens. But looking for this, so this would again just sort of come in line with this whole idea here. We are still seeing continued weakness on the yen, but we hit a nice little level in here, so we could see a little bit of pullback for the week, and that would be a target rate here. See this old low rate here at 107.30. That would be a nice, and that's about 50 pips, 60 pips from now, 50 pips from now. So that would be a nice level where you could look for price to reject and then continue lower if we're going to see lower prices on the yen. So that would be a nice level. And if you zoom out a little bit here, so we hit the top of this area here, and the price really broke down nicely the past month. So I'd like to see where this is going to go and see if we can't get lower prices down in here. But you look at this, and this is really a nice bull market on the yen. And this is going back to 2010, obviously. But you can see how price really traded quite heavily in this area and then moved away from it, and then it returned back, took out the lows from in here, chopped for a couple of months, and then screamed up higher, and then really consolidated for a little bit, and now we're back down here. We could see a pop higher. Just for the record, if price doesn't want to go back down convincingly through here, we could still stay in line with this bullish trend. You can see, right? That's a pretty bullish trend right there. Now we're trading outside of that, so one of two things could ensue. Price could trade up to here and then reject and then go lower, and we'd be looking for lows under here. But you can see this isn't a bullish trend on the yearly. Now on the going a little bit closer into time on this, you can see we have had a bit of a bearish market on this since about 2015. So there's there's a couple options to look at. There really are. And again, it just finally broke out of this range here. So I would like to think that price is consolidating in this range, not just to come down, drop below, hit an area here, take the liquidity out, and then run higher, but to actually continue lower. So we'd like to see lower prices on the yen. But again, my guy tomorrow will be discussing this pair, and even into Friday, I think we'll see if we'll take in some trades on the yen, because I believe there was some news on Friday on the yen that we'll be looking at to get involved in. So. And just on an hourly, that line comes in. So this red line here at 107.30 is just not too far away here. We're pretty close. It may not even get up that high. It might only be about 40 pips before we start to see the price roll over, and that would be right about here. About 107.20. That would be a good level. So somewhere in between there, 107.20 and 107.30. Check out what the reaction is. If it starts to wick into there, not wanting to go higher, price is going to roll over again, and we're going to probably take out these lows here and get lower into that whole consolidation that I was pointing out over in here. So we'll watch for that to transpire, and keep your phone with you, because if that does happen, then we will be sending out a signal. US CAD. Again, you'll be discussing US CAD tomorrow. I don't really want to go too much into this guy here, other than this has been just a messy pair to trade, so I don't want to talk about that too much. Aussie dollar, consolidated pretty much all Monday's trading, popped out. Just actually, it looks like it just took the high here. High came in here at 79.35, and it just took it here at 79. Oh no, it didn't. I missed it by 2 pips. So that's interesting. But it did come down and did grab the lows down here. See these 2 equal lows right here? These equal lows, just so you guys know, if you guys are a trader, and if you're a trader, if you guys are trading the markets and you see double lows, equal lows like this right here and right here, just know and believe me, and you can go back through every single instance in every single chart. It may not happen the next day or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but they will always come back and take out these equal lows, because there's tons of liquidity sitting below that. And that's what they did here. They just scooped up that liquidity, and now they're cranking it higher. So just keep that in mind when you're trading. That equal lows does not mean support or resistance. It just means that the market will come for that. So I don't know when, but just know that they will come for that, and they will hit it. So, and they did it right here. Boom. 2 days later. Created the low Thursday, traded Friday, double low. Monday did nothing. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours ago, they just took it. So now this would trade opposite of what the dollar index would be. So if the dollar index is trading up, the Australian dollar should be trading down. But it has been... But you can see that that's exactly what we're at here. So you can see this nice bull trend up here. in exact correlation with the dollar index, which has been trading the opposite way. So it's actually been reacting quite nicely. But I don't see anything here right now that I like on the Aussie dollar. And again, we're waiting on this pound dollar to do something, to get down to our levels down in here. And it's pretty much not doing anything right now. So unfortunately, I don't have a trade for you right off the hop. But those are the levels that I'm looking at for a reaction to ensue. Aussie dollar, I don't see anything here yet, other than I want this thing to start trading down. I'm sorry, start trading up once the U.S. dollar index starts trading down, but I don't want to get into a opposite trade on this. So by that I mean, right, we're in a bull trend. I don't want to be taking any bearish positions on this, especially where price is at right now. See, we had a nice retracement down here, and then price reacted at this level here. So I think we are going to be going long on this. We're going to be going higher, and I think these highs up here are going to be taken out. So that's my prediction on the Aussie dollar, but I don't have an entry for you guys on this, other than right here. 5 hours ago, if I was live on this session, I would have said get long right here. Well, see these highs here? If price wants to come back down to there, and if they give me a straight line, why are you taking it off of there? Wow, that's still not straight after all that. Sorry. Let's just blow this guy away. Let's grab this guy. So if price wants to come down to 79.16, 79.15, somewhere in there, that might be cause for a look. I'm just putting 15 just because I like the number. But if price comes down here, you could look at getting long. And the reason, again, that I'm saying that, this has to come into tandem with the dollar index. So if the dollar index just keeps pushing higher, Aussie dollar is not going to react here, and it's just going to push lower. Okay, so just got to keep that in mind. But if we do see a reaction at that level, at that 98.50 level on the dollar, I'm sorry, 89.50 level on the dollar, then we could see some reaction in here, and we could see higher prices if the dollar rolls over. So, and then we'd be looking at prices up here to take our first profit. So, 80. That would be the level we'd be taking our first profits at, and that's just up in here, and then ultimately we'd be up here, right? So that'd be a nice little day trade on the Aussie dollar. You get about a nice 65 pip range on it. Call it a day. Wait for the next entry, which would be off of this guy here to get higher up here. So that's what we'll be looking at. But again, it's just all going to depend on what that dollar wants to do. But I do like that, actually. Convincingly ran up. I'd like to see it trade back. Took all these lows down here, stabbed down, reacted beautifully. Like that's what you want to see. Those moves are the nice moves that you want to see when it's going in the right way, the right direction. And then you want to see price come back down, test some of these lows that you've got in here, or some of these old highs that you've got, and then explode off and go higher. So I wanted to do, right, something like this, and then explode higher. That's the reaction that I want to see ensue. So we'll wait for that. Before I get into Bitcoin, well, we can talk about Bitcoin real quick. So these highs here are going to get taken out on Bitcoin, and probably these lows up in here will get tested. So about 13,000, slightly under 13,000. I've got 1275 marked on the chart up here, but probably 13,000 will end up getting hit, and I'll just maybe make it even 1300. Where did that go? I know exactly where that went. Maybe if I actually typed in the whole number, it might not have went down. 1,000. 13000. There we go. So that those levels there I think are going to get tagged, because you can see here, and what I basically said last week on this was price is going to continue higher. We're going to look at this consolidation area right here. It thought about rejecting at these levels and then gapped right through it. And we're on the 4 hour now, so this is Monday. Gapped through it, came down, did not close the gap, and then just screamed higher. So there's a ton of liquidity sitting right up here. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't expect them to just wick up and then down. I'd actually expect them, now that we're through this consolidation level right here, so I can get rid of this guy here. It's no longer relevant. The next target is right here, 1175 and higher up to 1300. Lows come in about, I can refine that a little bit more. I think I like this low here a little bit better. Comes in at 1268, so call it 1270. So, oh man, I did it again. Sorry guys. Basically that low right there. I got 1282 on this one. I shouldn't have gone with this. Somewhere right in there. That's pretty much what I want. So I want to see price go up and tag in there, and I've got this right. Oh, Jesus, did I just do that again? I've got this guy right here, just to kind of show you the sort of the range that I'm looking at price to go into. Looking at this earlier, but yeah, the stops here are definitely going to get taken. They convincingly traded through this consolidation area, so it will continue through and trade up into there. But price hasn't really given us a chance to get in on it. I mean, if you look at this, it gapped up and then it came down, and everyone was looking for this gap close to get filled, and then price just went higher. It didn't even come down to the gap fill. It came down. It didn't even touch the top of the highs over here. It just missed it by a couple of points. So it didn't really give you a chance to get in very well. If price wants to come down to here and trade off of here, 111, you could even say 11,200. You could look at getting long and then holding out for that 13,000 big figure, or 1275. But it just really didn't give you a chance to get in. So I'll look at that. I'll watch price develop as we go forward. I know I haven't sent out a whole ton of signals on Bitcoin lately because of this. I'm expecting price to continue lower, and I don't want to counter trend trade. It's really broken out nicely here. This is a nice uptrend. Tons of liquidity sitting up here, but I'm expecting price to pop up and then drop lower. If it doesn't, then hey, we can still get long. There's lots of opportunity to get long, but I just don't want to get caught in something like this, putting out a signal and it just decides that's the day where it's going to drop 5,000 points or something like that, and we're long. So that's what I want to avoid. Like, I'd be more inclined at taking a short at specific levels, and then price stopping us out by, or sorry, not stopping us out, but taking a short and price, rolling over gently and then running down versus the opposite. So anyway, that's kind of my take on Bitcoin. It will go higher, but like you see right here, like price just was looking at it, price to come down back to trade down to this candle, and it just 1, 2, 3, 4 bull candles have not retraced one little bit. We had a little bit of action, a little bit of wick right here, but like I say, it missed the highs. And we have rules when we trade, and it didn't. The rule didn't pan out. It didn't trigger. So that's unfortunately why we didn't get a trade off on Bitcoin. So if there's any Bitcoin traders with us today, I apologize. We didn't get a signal out, but not to say that there isn't going to be ample opportunity to get into this market. Because like I say, we are going higher into here, and I'd like to see if price wants to come back down to these old highs over here, that maybe we could get in and get a bounce and then reach for those 13,000 levels that are above the market, way up here. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at. And the problem with Bitcoin, in my mind, is that it kind of does it whenever the hell it wants to. I mean, it definitely is regulated, and it definitely moves, according to a specific algorithm and plan. Um, but it doesn't necessarily have a lot of New York Open, I guess, would be the try and sum up the long story short here, would be probably the best opportunity to get into this. So if you can hold out and be in front of the market in about the next 6 hours or so, you might be able to get a long in here if price drops down into it. But it just hasn't been doing it. Like, it's just been climbing up and climbing and climbing and climbing. Had a little bit of a retracement rate here, but this area also came in over here, which could have been, a false breakout, right? So you got to watch for that and keep that in mind as well too. So what I mean by that is price traded up and then traded down. That could have been it. Could have just been trading up to grab the stops and then running lower. So you don't want to get long in that instance. You got to wait for the market to retrace, and then it came down and then just exploded off and never came back. So anyway, I'm just trying to make excuses as to why we didn't get signals out on this, unfortunately. But there, you got one right there. If price trades down here, watch that reaction. Shouldn't have to go any lower than this candle right here. I'll take a look at the data divider here. Shouldn't go any lower than this candle here. You could easily get in along there and hold out for higher prices. So I will look at that level if that comes, and I'll put a study out actually on the Telegram channel if you are a part of that, and you can watch for that to come to fruition if it does. But don't expect it if it doesn't, because like I say, like down here, I was analyzing this last week, and I said, look, price is chopping up nicely, chop, 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 grinding nice and high, but there's really nowhere to get long, and then price finally came down, created a bit of a low, and I said, if price trades back down to this level here, let's get in on it, and it never came back, and that would have been a great signal for a long right there, but price just never came back. Came back once there, but again, you really have to be in front of the markets. And there's that. Yeah, that was probably at about 4 or 5 a.m. New York time, I think. So, anyway, we'll watch Bitcoin. I put a signal out for crude oil. Where is my chart on crude oil? This, by the way, just realized, so talk about crude oil here for a second. I just put out a signal for crude oil. This chart that you see here with this data provider, so this is another reason why you need to be very, very cognizant about your data providers and have a couple of different sources to confirm your price levels. It's a very key indicator that I'm looking at here for price coming in and trading off of this level right in here down to this level, pretty much right about here. See the tops of these old highs here. I'm looking for a reaction in this level. Now I was looking at my chart. I'm looking at this, and price has been, again, remember those double lows that I was talking about? Equal low here, that they always come back and get those. And they did that. So the price traded up, took the highs here, came back down, took those, and then traded higher. That was the entry. However, this is a March contract. March contracts have expired, and we're now into April. So that's why I was trying to actually enter a signal on one of my trading platforms, and it wouldn't take it for some reason. I couldn't figure out why until about the second time I did it, and I realized that the data was incorrect, that I was trading off the wrong contract, and it wasn't allowing me to put an entry in. So once I finally figured out the right contract, we'll just zip over to my oil chart here, if I can find it. 1 second. Why am I not seeing? That's weird. I just had an oil chart up here and it's not there anymore. There we go. I'll just have to bring up a new one. Okay. So you can see here, this is the level, and this chart here, same equal low here, equal low here. Price did not get back down to trade down below those equal lows and to key off of this level in here, like I thought it did on that other chart. So you can see that there. See the differences? Equal low, equal low, equal low, equal low. Price traded down, took out those lows there in the wrong contract month, Didn't do that here. And this is April's contract for crude oil. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to always make sure you have a couple of sources of data providers that you're looking at all the time to make sure that you're getting the correct price information. Because just a simple little thing like that, it was contract rollover, expiry month, or sorry, expiry week last Thursday, third week of the month, and we're into the new contracts now into April. So that's why. So anyway, long story short, I'll just bring this chart up again. This was a signal that was put out just recently, and if you are part of our members group, you will have got all of the levels in here, all of our targets, all of our stop losses, all of our take profits, and our entry level, sorry, long entry here. So, well, excuse me guys, long day. There's a holiday here where I'm at over in the Western Hemisphere, and it was a long day spent with the family, let me tell you. Which means just to kind of summarize, I'm going to be wrapping up here pretty quick as well too. So I'm going to spend maybe another 15 minutes looking at some charts, and then I'm going to call it a night because it's a little bit slow. It's London Open off of a holiday, not a lot of news drivers on, as I mentioned early on. So there's not going to be a ton of stuff happening. So we're just going to watch a few levels. This one here, crude oil, I'm going to discuss this. So again, bullish crude oil, you can see this has been a nice, steady, healthy run up on bull market on crude oil. Had a great little sell-off right here, back down in this old consolidation area. We've got down in here, and price reacted very, nicely off of this level here and ran higher. So we got a couple of signals off last week for crude oil and captured a few pips on it, and now I want to see price drop down into our buy, and then our target would be back up into here, up in this consolidation area. Ultimately, what I want to see is price go higher and get above these highs. So that's where I'm expecting price to go off of this move. But we will see what happens when price runs into this level right in here. If we're going to see lower prices on crude oil, this is going to be the catalyst that breaks it. It's going to come back up, and it's going to start falling off right there. And that's what we're going to be looking for. So this is sort of the last little leg up in price. If price wants to close above this consolidation area, these lows in here, basically. Jesus. See these lows? See? Low, 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 wick, 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 low, candle low, low, low. That's the levels that we're looking at right now, and I want to see price get through there. So that comes in at 63.40. It's a very significant level. They worked that level quite a bit. So they came up, traded down, exploded up to that level, stopped pretty much right on it, and then spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days at that level. Rest assured, price is going to come back up to that level again, and it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to punch right through it, kind of like this candle right here, punch through it on the downside, or it's going to just go chop, 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 or it's going to hit it and then fall off. So that's what we're going to be looking at. But so we got a long signal on there for right now. I'm watching price. Hopefully it's going to start coming down here in the next couple of hours. And then react off of this level and run higher. So that's what we're looking for, crude oil. I'll minimize this, and you know, the other thing that I'm looking at here too, actually, 1 second guys, let me just look at something here. I'm just going to bring up a couple other charts on this broker. Coffee, cocoa. I'm pretty much done talking about Forex, guys. So just a real quick recap. US dollar index, expecting higher prices for today, and then I want to see prices drop. And somewhere right around this level here, 89.45. Just again, quick recap, same sort of thing. I want to see price come down here, run higher. On the pound dollar, the euro dollar, the pound dollar, same idea. See these two areas right in here. I want to watch what price does. throughout the trading today and Tuesday, and then we'll probably look at getting a signal out for New York Open. So in about 7 hours from now, we'll look where price is. I'm hoping it's going to be right around this level here, and we'll look at getting long. If, again, we see the correct reaction off of the US dollar. UJ, I don't think I discussed anything on UJ other than price. I think it's going to run up higher here, and then we'll wait and see what price does there. Aussie, right? Okay. Aussie kind of came down. Look at that. It came down and tagged in there. But it's not really... Let me look at Aussie here for a second. I just put this out, didn't I? It did have a nice reaction. But again, you got to look at where the dollar index is. It's still going higher. So if this is still going to chug higher, this may continue to roll over. And they did just take stops. They did just run a bunch of stops right here. See that? See how they came in and wicked higher? Ran a bunch of stops and then dropped lower. This could drop a little bit further. So I'm kind of second guessing my original call, but I didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. I thought we were probably going to get a little bit of sideways action on this thing, and then hopefully that would coincide with the dollar slowly going up, and then they'd kind of both hit that level at the same time, and then we could look for some reaction on it. So if you are long in this pair, and you did get long down here, I would suggest taking your profits and just sitting on the sidelines for this right now. Or you could wait and you could see if price wants to go up to this 79.30 level. You know, grab yourself 15-20 pips. By all means, do that. But don't let this thing go any lower. If you're going to sit and hold this, don't let this thing go any lower than... and it's not much. Like, we're talking 15 pips here, so it's not like it's going to break the bank. You shouldn't be over leveraging anyway. Honestly, if price comes all the way down here, you don't need that. But really, right around here, if price wants to get lower than the 79.03 level, it's going to continue lower. And again, like I say, I didn't think I'd see the reaction this quickly. I wanted to see the US dollar start to drive higher. We are seeing it drive higher, but not quite as fast as I would have liked it to happen, as opposed to this here. So, like I said, I'll leave it up to you. Take your profits in here now. If you got in at 79.50, 15. If you want to hang on and see what price does, you could see a reaction down at this level here. But don't permit price to go any lower than really 7,900 basically. Big figure. Don't let price go any lower than there. And again, that's not too much. It's only 15 pips, so it's not like it's, hopefully you're not over leveraging it. So it shouldn't break the bank if you do get stopped out. But you can look at that. And then, like I say, Bitcoin, we talked about, we want to see price come down to 11,200 and then run higher up to that 13,000. We'll probably get that today or tomorrow, I would imagine. If we're going to see some bullish action on this, we'll probably, well, maybe not today or tomorrow, maybe by the end of the week, we'll probably get up there. So that's what I wanted to talk about for Forex. The last couple of things here, like I say, guys, I just wanted to discuss really quickly a couple of commodities, just to see where we're at. And I just wanted to do it on a new platform, only because that platform that I just had up there is a little bit suspect with some of these contract rollovers. They'll get it all straightened out here by probably by tomorrow's trading when they do some updates. But I just want to make sure that it's done before I talk about it and we get the wrong levels on it or something. Soybeans. Dollar index, S&P, bonds, palladium, copper, corn. This trading platform actually has several commodities, which is nice. And this is, guys, if you're wondering, this is XM.com. It's just a UK-based brokerage service. They've actually got quite a few options if you're looking for a new demo account to verify the price levels that you're looking at. So just as a kind of an aside, I'm not recommending. I don't have any affiliation with them. I'm not suggesting you put anything with them or anything like that. I'm just saying that's just another option for you guys. Check out a whole bunch of them though. I get that asked that question a lot. What broker should I use? It's up to you. It really is. Go out, research them, look at spreads, look at commission, look at what they have for data feeds, look at the consistency of the data feeds, make sure there's no gaps in them, things of that nature, and you can find some really, really good ones out there. So I just want to discuss just a couple here. I'm just going to skim through this. I'm literally going to take, guys, I'm going to take maybe 5 minutes here, 10 minutes at the most, and then we're going to wrap it up. So if you guys are done trading Forex if you guys are just here to look at Forex and you don't trade any commodities, I'm just going to finish up by talking about a couple commodities. You can take off and you can join us again tomorrow for the live trading session, same time, same place. But I'm just going to run through some coffee here real quick. You can see this is not a favorable market to trade. You look at this, it's in a downward bear trend for the past little while. I've got a bunch of notes on coffee here that I'll just whip out real quickly here, if you can bear with me. So coffee being a soft, we are looking currently at the seasonal trend on coffee right now is actually it's mainly sideways, and you can see that here at the bearish, and that's exactly what we're seeing happen. Sideways to bearish price action. It's just really been chopping. There's not a ton of stuff here to look at. This usually continues till about May time frame, and then it gets really bearish from mid-May to July. So we'd be looking at taking some shorts mid-May to July, and we're not going to get a ton of information because it only goes back for a year. But you can see here, this one actually started a bearish trend in September. So it's not always like that, the seasonal trends. I mean, they don't come and play out exactly to script every single year, year after year. But the overall 40-year outlook on this is bearish between now and the summer. And so we're going to continue to watch bearish price breakdown. And I actually want to see if it can get in here and take some of these lows in here. But we'll watch for this. There's really nothing to look at here. This is just ugly trading. You don't want to be involved in anything like that. So, cocoa. This is nice. You see how price has been trading up nicely here, and then could have got long down here. And I was looking for price to do this, and on my other data feed, and I just want to confirm something. If you can give me one more second, guys. Cocoa. I wanted to compare these two charts kind of side by side, and if I can get this thing to shrink up a little bit. Okay, and then I'll just do this here. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just comparing different brokerage feeds here and just making sure that we've got all the same data and the same information, okay? So it pretty was, yeah, the 2000 level. What I want to do here is basically, I believe price is going to come up to here, and I think we're going to have the highs ran and taken out. And but we can't get long from here, so I want to see price dip down basically right into here would be a great entry if we could get long in here. And I'll watch this and I'll send out a signal on this. But this would be a great long entry right here, and then to ride that out for the last little bit of profit in here. I was kind of watching this market here, and I took a long down here that I put a signal out for about a month ago. Had a nice reaction up into here. We took our profit and got out, and then we had this nice additional little pop in price here, and price traded back down. To be honest with you, I wasn't watching this market last week there, and it was just really chopping, and it kept breaking down. And it wasn't really anything that I liked too much, and then finally it exploded off of that, and it kind of came down a little bit deeper than what I would have liked. So that's why I didn't really get a signal off of it once price had kind of come into here and just sort of not shown any willingness to explode higher, I kind of lost interest last week and averted my attention elsewhere, but we did get a nice explosion off of it. So I'd like to see if price wants to come down into here again, or even into kind of this level here, sort of the high of that candle, and basically do this here, and then I'll be looking at getting some longs in on this one here. So we will watch for price on this one here. I'll send out a signal on this once I see price set up a little bit better. But I want to see the highs up in here get taken out, and that would be a nice little range on cocoa. And cocoa just so happens, seasonally, it is sideways to bearish currently from about mid-March to April. But there is a small little bit of bullish action from basically January till about now. So I wouldn't expect this trend to last very much longer. I'm basically expecting this thing come mid-March to, which is, 2-3 weeks away from now, to take these highs here and then to start running south from there. So if there's a little bit of juice left to squeeze in this, we may be able to get it if the price wants to come down into our neck of the woods here. So that is cocoa, soybeans. So I have a real quick look at the soybean market here. Soybean was actually a great little trade here. And when I was doing my original market analysis, price was actually down here. And there was an entry down here if you could have got into it on the soybeans, but I actually had done my analysis a little bit after this had happened, and price was already up into this range here, so the entry wasn't there. Let me just read my notes that I got on here. So it does go, it's kind of a sideways to bullish pattern from January to August, so there's going to be lots of opportunity to get long in this. Right, look where we came down from. So if we continue to see price run higher, these are the levels that we're going to be looking at. And so there's going to be lots of opportunity. So it just got that one here. What I would expect is this price to roll back off, and then we can get back in here again. And you can kind of see how price is sort of stair-stepping higher. Come on. There we go. And then we'd be looking at these highs ultimately to get our target in. So there's a couple of levels on the chart to watch for here, but since price got this, I'm looking for price to now come back down, and we'll look for long entry here, and then we'll hold here for this target here. And if we get that, then and this would be like a very, very long trade. So it's not like it's going to happen next week or anything like that, but we're bullish soybeans, and we will look for further bullish action on this guy going forward, but not here. I don't want to buy in here. I want to see price always come back down and tag off of a recent high. That's basically what I want to see. Which I kind of did that Monday here, but it didn't get low enough for my liking. So I want to see if it gaps up and then comes back down again. So I'll watch soybeans. Very interesting though. This guy here is these symbols. This is copper, high grade copper. Copper has been ugly. So this here, this has been a super easy market to trade. All of this price action right up in here, super easy to trade. This is easy. Even this price in here, it was actually fairly predictable. And then when price stabbed down here, got all over these longs, and price rammed up, took out the highs. And this, however, has been very, very sloppy and ugly to me. And now you can see how the price exploded off of here, took the highs, and now it's coming back down again. So what I'm going to look at, I'm basically suggesting copper. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to run to my metals and my meats. Copper. The seasonality on this, it's actually quite bullish from January till the end of March. So we could see further prices, and I guess, whoops, it's not the right one. I'd be looking at prices to take out this high here. Problem is though, this isn't nice trading, right? This isn't too bad, but this really is just ugly, ugly trading in here. All of these wicks. And then price again, it didn't really come down to a logical level where it should have seen a reversal. I would have liked to see price come down more so into here, into this sort of small consolidation level. And this is just the high of that consolidation level. And it also coincidentally lines up with this old consolidation level in here as well too. Didn't see price come down to there. And that was the level that I was looking at to get long on, but it just stopped kind of in the middle of nowhere. And actually there was a level here, but my eye didn't get averted over to there to see a potential reversal. I was looking at more down here. There was a little more confluence down in these two areas. This was just sort of an intermediary, so I didn't really pay any attention to that. And it just ripped and 1, 2, 3, 4 days straight higher. Took the highs, took the stops, and now we're coming softer again. So again, you know, we'll look and see where price wants to go, but there's a couple of levels, potentially, you know, the old low here, rejecting off that same level, some highs in here, some highs in here. So there could be some level of confluence in there that we may be looking at. So we'll see what price wants to do once it gets down to this level here. And that comes in at $3.10 basically. I'd be looking for a reaction to ensue to see if we can get those highs up there. So we'll watch for that to happen on copper. And I'll put out a signal before it gets there, but if price does want to come down and look like it wants to react off this level, we'll put a signal out for that. Corn, real quickly. Corn is breaking out a little bit to the upside and starting to come into some levels of resistance in here. So the seasonal trend on this one from basically the first 6 months, it is moderately bullish. However, the price just, I don't really like this price action in here. You see, it's almost like a head and shoulders pattern where price rammed up, created the shoulder, and then the head here, and then the shoulder, and then came down and traded through, and it's just been really going sideways for about the past 6 months, and then just finally broke out of there. Not really great price action that I really like a whole lot to get excited about, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to put any signals out for corn. I just don't really like what price is doing. Yes, we had a nice little bullish move to the upside here, and yes, this will continue to June, but I just don't really like the way it looks right now. And I could be missing a big opportunity. That's the thing. You just kind of got to go with your gut with some of these sometimes. But I'm going to hold off on corn. Sugar, the sugar market. Sugar. Sugar just took out some lows, as you can see. There it is here. And it was a possible short, and I was right. And I did some analysis on this about 2 weeks ago when price was starting to trade up into this area here. And we kind of got a messy sort of price action in here, which kind of led me to believe that I didn't really want to be taking a trade on it. Yes, we had a nice drop in price, but it wasn't the prettiest price action in there, as you can see. So it's kind of one of those things where we do see some sideways action seasonally from January to March, and then it gets very, very bearish. So if price wants to trade back up sort of into this area up in here and maybe want to retest these highs up here, I'd be interested in getting short. But that's not going to pan out until pretty much March, from March till June. So we got a little bit of time on this. There's no rush. And as you can see here, price has really just been chopping sideways for about the past 2-3 weeks. So there's really nothing here to watch. I'd want to see if price wants to come and start to trickle up this way. Then we'd be looking at getting short if it either does one of two things. You can see here, this was a failure swing. See how price failed to get back up to this high here. It failed. I'd be looking for the same thing to happen, and it created a lower low. So we had a low created here and then a lower low. I'd be looking for price to do the same thing, come up, fail, not make it higher than that high. Whoops, and then come back down and make a lower low under here, under those candles. So that's what I've been looking for on sugar. And the last one here, the cotton markets. And there are a couple other commodities here that I will go through. But the cotton market, again, not doing a whole ton for me. Cotton, I've got a note here that says to watch for support at a current level to go higher, because it actually is bullish seasonally from January to early March. So we could see some bullish price action, and this could be the start of it. But you can see here, this is another pair where it's just really just grinding. Like it's just working these areas in here quite a bit, and it's not giving me like a clear defined signal. You know, for instance, like oil. Like oil is a clear bull market, right? No question about that. But this one here, just the past few days, like the past 3 weeks, it's just been chop, 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 and just really grinding lower. Now it is coming into some areas that are technically very interesting to me, this being one of them, which comes into the old highs over here, mid-range of this trading area. If the price breaks down through there, we're going to look at this consolidation area over in here as a potential reversal. But seasonally, like I say, cotton is bullish until early March, and then from May to November it turns very, very bearish. So what I'm saying here is we could be running out of time on this to get bullish, so we'd be looking at bearish plays after March, pretty much from May to November. So we may have to put a pin in cotton for now and watch for some trades to transpire in May. And that's just, sometimes with commodities, that's what it is. It's a bit of a waiting game. There's no rush on them. It just, you know, price takes time to move to where it's going to go. And if you can get in at the right times, then it could be a very, 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 very profitable endeavor for you. But you got to watch and wait for the right times. So if price comes back up and trades into this consolidation area here, let's just say, for instance, it does turn bullish for a little while, and then it trades up into here, and then we start hitting that May time frame. If price does not want to make a higher high in here, then we'd be looking at taking shorts, and we'd be looking at coming down back into this area here, and that would be a monster move. Just so you guys know, one contract on that, I mean, that'd be thousands and thousands of dollars per one contract for a move like that. So anyway, that's about it for my commodities. I'll do a little more in detail assessment on the pairs or the commodities markets that I didn't talk about, because there are a few. There's you know, there's your wheat and your corn and canola, and you know, natural gas and live cattle, feeder cattle, lean hogs. Some stuff on orange juice that I could go through, but you know, and then gold and everything like that. So anyway, we'll watch for that. I've been rambling enough, guys. Do you have any questions? I'm going to wrap this session up here in about the next 3 minutes, and I'm going to call it a night because I am tired and I'm going to go to bed. But if you have any questions on anything, while you're here, make sure you click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here. Sign up to our YouTube channel. Let's see how our trades are doing here. Just minimize this. So the dollar index isn't doing a whole bunch yet. It's just really been chopping sideways. And we're looking at these levels up here to get tagged. Euro is pretty much sitting, and like I said, guys, like the trading session right now, because there's not a lot of news events to drive things today, it's not going to do a whole ton. I'd like to see price here eventually get down to this level, but it could take a few hours to get there, so I apologize. Some trading sessions, live trading sessions, aren't always the most exciting. This price here, same type of idea. Like it could just slowly grind higher up to this level here. I'd be watching for some kind of a reaction to ensue on that level there. Aussie had a nice little reaction here, but like I say, guys, I don't trust it only because the dollar has not got that reaction yet at the level. So like I say, yeah, I'll leave this up to you. Keep your stop in. I wouldn't put your stop in any lower than what it is here and permit price to go any lower. If you want to take a trade off of the 79.15 level, I'll leave that up to you. Your target, conservatively, take 30 pips. Like if price gets back up to this high at 79.32, like I'd be looking at taking profits somewhere in between 79.30 and 79.40, and taking your 30-40 pips off of that. I would be walking away from that happy on this pair, but other than that, like I say, Bitcoin, did it give us an entry? Not really. Nope, nothing. See, just going sideways, sideways, and this is an hourly chart here too that I'm on. Just going sideways, 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 sideways. So nothing to speak about there. S&P 500. Don't trade that before New York Open. And that's it, guys. So if you are a member of F45 Trading, you will get signals for the pound dollar when they come out, and you will also get signals for crude oil, which I have already put out, and we're watching that level. Yeah, speaking of crude oil, where are we at? Yeah, this price is still just kind of sitting there. Again, may not see any real action until the New York session, but I'm looking for price to dive down, pick up a long, and then go higher. And that's about it, guys. So, any questions? I don't see any on the chat window here. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. As always, we will be back again tomorrow. Our other analysts will be taking the live session for the London Open, and we'll be looking for some trades. We should see some market action tomorrow, so make sure you guys get in on it tomorrow, because there should be some good trades to be had for tomorrow for sure. So make sure you come back. Again, apologize, tonight was a little bit boring. Not a whole lot is happening in price, unfortunately. Watch that Aussie trade if you guys are in the Aussie dollar. You can watch that, and I don't have it on this chart. Keep an eye on this. Don't permit price to go too much lower than that, and like I said, don't let price go lower than this right here, basically. And if price goes higher, make sure you take a profit about 25-30 pips. Call it a day on that one, and that's about it. So, thanks, guys. Have a great day, Tuesday, and watch the Signals broadcast channel on Telegram if you're a member, because we'll probably have a few coming out here via the New York session. So we will catch up to you then. Thanks very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.